Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel for my review of Eden Zero Chapter 136. Okay, so this chapter was actually kind of interesting because going into it, I just automatically assumed we would be getting more backstory on Laguna, or even getting any backstory really on Laguna, because we don't know really anything about his history just yet, and I thought this would be the chapter that actually gives us some of that history. But instead, we actually get some pretty comedic moments in the beginning of the chapter with Goodwin and Rebecca, because we end up finding out that he's actually her biggest fan as a beekeeper, which I'm glad that they're actually bringing back the whole beekeeper aspect to her character into the story, because it had actually been kind of washed away for a long time now. For a few arcs now, we kind of just put down the back burner. But I'm glad these last few chapters actually, try to dive back into her wanting to be a beekeeper, because that actually was her original goal joining up with the Eden Zero crew. She wanted to be a big time beekeeper, and ever since they got into like the more serious plots, that kind of aspect of her character kind of just slowly started to disappear. But now I'm glad that we're actually starting to dive back into it. You got Couchpo on the team now who's going to be coaching her how to be a professional beekeeper. And we just got introduced to her biggest fan, who is actually important to the plot of this current arc. So I'm hoping that Hiro finds a way to continue to intertwine her desire to be a beekeeper into the main story. And on top of that, we actually have a little bit of character development for Shiki, because throughout the entire chapter, he just keeps saying to other characters, hey, because of the fact that Goodwin was friends with Laguna, that makes him our friend. And everyone throughout the entire chapter is just kind of getting a little bit annoyed with him, saying, hey, Shiki, just because Laguna and them used to be friends, seeing how they are right now doesn't mean that he's going to, actually end up being our friend as well. But near the end of the chapter, the last time that Shiki mentions, hey, Goodwin and Laguna used to be friends so that he can be our friend too, he brings up the fact that the reason why he wants them to be friends with them is because of the fact that they would actually be very helpful in taking out Shura. And the fact that Shiki's thinking this way shows exactly how much he's grown over the series. And comparing him to Natsu, like everyone likes to do since their characters are very similar, I don't think that Natsu's had this level of growth in this amount of chapters over in Fairy Tail that Shiki has had over in Eden Zero. So, in my opinion, the fact that Hiro was able to give Shiki so much character development in such few chapters shows how much he's grown as a writer since going from Fairy Tail over to Eden Zero. Okay, so getting into the more serious part of the chapter, we got this news broadcast that plays on both the Eden Zero ship and in the Oasis base, and we end up finding out that things are not looking good in the Owl Cosmos for Poseidon Arrow, because his popularity polls are actually at an all-time low right now due to the thing that Shura brought forward in chapter 134, I believe, the whole execution of all robots in the Owl Cosmos. Basically, because of that, you got the robots who are basically declaring, hey, well, if you're going to try to kill us all, we're just going to get out of here. So they're leaving out the Owl Cosmos on every single planet. You got all the politicians and people who are actually in charge of manufacturing robots who are basically very upset with the fact that Poseidon Arrow is letting his son go forward with this plan of destroying all robots. So they're basically out from backing him. And then on top of that, on each of the planets in the Owl Cosmos, you got riots, fighting, basically just straight up chaos going on between the people who are trying to enforce this new law that Shura put forward, the people who are in support of that law, and all the people who are against it, and obviously the robots who are trying to defend themselves. So it's just straight up chaos in the Owl Cosmos, which is honestly perfect time for the Oasis group to actually kind of swoop in and not take down Poseidon Arrow necessarily, but take down Shura, which is obviously what Laguna's here to present to them. This group, the Eden Zero crew, is here to basically help them in taking down Shura, which will actually get them one step closer to taking down Arrow. And you know what, I gotta be honest, when I read the last chapter, I was a little bit hesitant to the idea of the Eden Zero crew joining up with Oasis in this mission, because I kind of didn't really see them as being helpful. I mean, maybe Goodwin, I figured maybe Goodwin would actually have some use because of how big he is. Obviously, he has to be at least somewhat strong. But I didn't really think that the rest of them would serve for anything besides fodder when it comes to fighting off against the Ocean Six. But we end up finding out in this chapter through a conversation between Shiki and Homura that not only is Goodwin pretty strong, but apparently a few other members that we actually get introduced to in the last chapter actually are strong as well from the Oasis group. So they actually could be a little bit more useful than I thought they would. But I mean, of course, how useful they'll be in the mission to stop Shura depends on whether or not they actually would end up joining up with them in the first place. Which, throughout the entire chapter, it kind of seems like they won't, just because of the fact that Laguna's part of the Eden Zero crew, and they have some bad history with him from leaving the group. Which, again, we don't get any information on Laguna's backstory. We're just kind of getting the same hints over and over again. He used to be part of this group Oasis, and then at some point he left to just work for Drake and Joe. We don't have any information on what happened, why he left, why he disagreed with them. Maybe Drake and Joe, because we saw that from what I can remember, Clyde's memories were kind of altered, or her personality was being kind of controlled by Drake and Joe. So maybe the same thing happened with Laguna, but he's just not revealing that to them. Maybe that's the reason why he ended up leaving this Oasis group. That, Drake and Joe saw some worth in him and decided, hey, you're coming with me, and forcibly took him. But again, we don't have any information on this because Hiro's not giving us any information on Laguna's past with this Oasis group. And I mean, I know it's coming at some point. Hiro's definitely going to give us the backstory on Laguna and his connection to this group. But still, I don't really, just me personally, I don't really like waiting. This is just me being a spoiled fan, not wanting to wait for the backstory, just kind of wanting it to be presented to us now instead of having to wait a few chapters for it. And, speaking of that, it actually kind of seems like Klein might already be in a little bit on Laguna's backstory, because apparently she is the only one who knew that Laguna was actually from Sandra. But anyway, going back to the conversation of Oasis joining up with Eden Zero crew to take down Shura, again, Goodwin doesn't really want to because of the fact that they're working with Laguna, but as soon as one of their members actually come flying into the base because of the fact that they actually got caught by one of the military police who were out trying to destroy all the robots they come across in the plaza, the shopping plaza that they were in the last chapter, he basically actually leads them right to the base, which they uncover is the secret organization trying to take down Poseidon Arrow. But this is actually when we get another cool display of Shiki showing off exactly how much stronger he's become after training with Master Zenolith. And actually not only Shiki, we get Homer, Rebecca, and Wise all showing off exactly what they've learned from training with Zenolith. Because we got Rebecca basically using kicks, only kicks, not her Ether Gear ability, just kicks to take out the military police. We got Homer showing off some great swordsmanship, and we actually have Wise showing off he can properly shoot now. So again, showing off the fruits of their training in these small panels, taking out these small-time military police. And it's going to be even cooler when we actually get to see them fighting off and using those new abilities that they learned from Zenolith against the Ocean 6. I am a little disappointed that Laguna doesn't jump in to help out in the fight, but I'm sure we're going to see him fighting in the next chapter because at the end of it, Shiki actually declares, hey, we're going to put this whole conversation of us joining together on hold right now. We need to go out into that shopping district and basically protect all the robots who are being killed off. And that's kind of where the chapter ends, with Goodwin looking at Shiki like, he's a little bit interested now. He seems like that this whole fight that Shiki's going to be getting into in the next chapter is going to be what actually drives Goodwin into basically working with them and taking out Shura. And you know what? Speaking of Shura, after reading the news broadcast in this chapter, I started to think that maybe this was actually Shura's plan from the beginning, like using the whole pandemonium, all the chaos, and basically the fact that Poseidon Arrow's name is behind all this to basically bring down his popularity as a way to kind of take control of Temple and the entire Alcosmos for himself away from his father. But at the same time, it's not only Shura, or it's not only Poseidon Arrow who's basically going down on this. Shura's name is all over this because he's the one who actually made the declaration of killing off all the robots in the Alcosmos. So all the hatred that his dad's getting is going to be the same hatred directed at him. So if he was actually planning on using this as a way to take power away from his dad, that doesn't make any sense because no one's actually going to want to follow him. No one's going to actually support him more than his dad, especially since he was the one who actually put forward the idea. Now, before I end the video, I forgot to mention that we actually do end up finding out exactly what the all-link system is in this chapter. Basically, the way Goodwin describes it is that every now and then, every few years, there's a sea that actually surrounds the Alcosmos, and once it goes into high tide every few years, it actually envelops each and every single one of the planets in the cosmos. And then once each of the cosmos are actually enveloped by the sea, all the ether energy and electricity from each planet combined with the ether energy from the sea connects every single planet into one huge network, which allows someone to control every single living machine in the cosmos. So now we know exactly what the all-link system that Ziggy's after is, and we also now know that this actually is going to be happening in about 3 days. So it actually puts a time frame on how long they can actually take to figure out their plan on stopping Ziggy and Shura. But anyway guys, that's it for the chapter. Now before I end the video, I do want to mention that I do know that the Eden Zero anime is going to be starting up very soon in Japan on Netflix. And unfortunately, we won't be getting it until about probably 6 months later over here in America, and all at once, not, week by week. Which I guess for some people is actually kind of cool. They can actually binge it. Me personally, I don't want to wait to 6 months. I actually kind of want to watch it ahead of time. So what I actually ended up doing was actually bought a what they call it, a VPN. Sorry, I bought a VPN. I think it's called Surfshark. Which, by the way, this is not a paid promotion for them. This is basically just me saying what I did. I subscribed to them. I actually tried it out already. I tried going on Netflix on the device that actually has a VPN installed on it. I did get access to more anime over on the Netflix from Japan that I have over here in America. So once the Eden Zero anime comes out, the first episode, I'm going to try it out, see if I can actually watch it with some kind of subtitles. If it does work out, then I definitely recommend for you guys to do the same thing. I think the VPN is only like $10 a month. So if you can afford that and actually have Netflix, I would definitely recommend to do it if you want to watch the anime week by week when it comes out, instead of having to wait 6 months for the anime to come out over here on American Netflix. Now, if this whole VPN thing does work out and I can watch it with subtitles, I will definitely be doing at least a review of the first episode. That way I can give you guys my impressions of the adaptation of the anime, and so I can also give you guys the heads up that yes, the VPN thing does work, so you can actually go forward and do it yourself. But anyway guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys thought about the chapter, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.